Good morning everyone who is exclusively watching us on Tyler. I'm Aaron and this is Amy and we're part of the team here at Pandas Wildlife Park in Hertfordshire, England. And we are joined by one of our beautiful red pandas, Nampang. His partner Tilly is just currently sat up in the tree. And right now we are doing red panda training. Now Amy, can you just let the people watching know why we do training with our red pandas?
So we do training with lots of our animals here for various different reasons, mainly just to make their healthcare a lot more easier for us and a lot less stressful for them. So what we're doing with Nampang this afternoon is just trying to get a weight from him. So we do this with both of our pandas and all of our animals on the primate and small mammal section once or twice a month. It just helps us to make sure that they're nice healthy weights. That foot is meant to be on the scales and not covering the screen, which is always helpful. Under their thick bushy coat, it's actually quite hard to tell what body condition the red pandas are in. Because it can hide. If they were thin and their ribs were showing, for example, you wouldn't be able to see under their thick coat. So actually getting a weight on the scales is really, really important just to make sure that we know he's a nice healthy weight.
And can you just let people know what basically are red pandas? Are they closely related to any other animal? Are they quite unique?
So red pandas are an incredibly unique species. They're actually the only living species in their family. Their family is called Ailuridae, and Ailuridae contains two species of red panda, but they don't have any very, very close living relatives whatsoever. Their closest living relative are the animals that belong in the raccoon family, so the raccoons, the coatis, and the kinkajous as well, and a few other lesser known species, but that's as close as they are.
So what behaviour are we trying to get out of Nampang in this situation
So this is a station behaviour, so he knows when we bring in this little station that we want him to come over and put his front feet on it, and as you can see he knew exactly what to do. We do this as a beginning behaviour so he can display his body and we can give his belly a little feel. Again, that helps us monitor condition. Even more important for breeding animals, so if our female Tilly comes over, hopefully we'll do this with her as well. And she's coming down, so fingers crossed. Red pandas generally don't like to be touched, so they wouldn't like it if we were sitting here just stroking them or anything like that. They're a completely solitary species, so touch and tactile between animals wouldn't ever really happen, so it's not something that they really enjoy. So we never just reach out and touch them when they're near us. They know if they come over to this station that they they know that if they come to the station that we probably will touch them, but then it makes it their choice. So they're happier because they're in control. If they don't want us to touch them, they don't come to the station and they can obviously leave at any time.
Now, there's been quite an amazing discovery this year. Red pandas were actually reclassified. So originally everyone thought there was just one kind of red panda, but there's now actually two separate subspecies. You have the Himalayan red panda and you also have the Chinese red panda. And basically the ways that you can tell the difference are that the Himalayans, if you look carefully at Tilly's face as she comes around onto the training station, you'll see that she's got a very white face. Whereas the Chinese red pandas have basically got a much darker coloration to their face. They're a lot redder. And you generally tend to see the Chinese red pandas a lot more in American zoos and wildlife parks, whereas the Himalayans generally tend to be more here in Europe as part of their breeding program. Now, we have had two sets of baby red pandas off of Tilly before, all of which have moved on as part of the European breeding program. Now, just while Amy's doing her training here, what you can really see is that if she was pregnant, it would give our keepers a really good opportunity to get a feel of the stomach. And also if the vets wanted to come in and also just give her any scans or anything like that, it gives us a really good opportunity to potentially see how the babies are developing inside her. Now, what you might notice about Tilly as she starts to explore the enclosure again after is that she's missing some fur on the back of her tail. Amy, would you just be able to explain why this is?
Yeah, so it's actually something I was going to have a look at as part of this training as well. We actually take a photo of her tail every day to help monitor it, and it's a really good time to do it now while she's sitting really happy at her station. So that is done, and we can send that on to the vet straight away if we need to. Basically, over summer, red pandas often lose fur on their tail. It just helps to regulate their body temperature in the warmer months. But last year, in 2019, this started happening much earlier than we would have expected. And the fur was almost gone entirely. Then around June last year, she actually, the skin started looking really bad, and we actually ended up having to amputate some of it. We now know from obviously after amputating it and sending off samples that she basically hasn't got the right blood flow to her tail. She's a bit of a medical mystery at the moment. Some of the best vets, zoo vets, in the country are absolutely stumped as to why it's happening. She is on medication for it, but basically she doesn't have the blood flow to her tail as she should have. But she does really, really well without the tail from day one after it was amputated. She was climbing around the tree really happily, and we put some cream on the skin just to make sure the skin is nice and healthy, and we are really hoping that the fur on the tail will start growing back properly soon.
Now, from a conservation perspective, where do these guys rank in terms of the ICUN red list?
So the IUCN classes them as an endangered species. They were actually classed as vulnerable, but they were kind of upgraded a few years back now to an endangered status. One of the main reasons why it's so important to conserve them is of how unique they are, because they don't have any close living relatives. If we lose red pandas, then we lose that entire family of species completely. So they face many different threats in the wild, mainly just due to habitat loss, and if we don't stop people from cutting down the forest, not only does red pandas lose their homes, obviously they spend a lot of time in the trees, but also they lose their main food source as well. So we don't know exactly how many are left in the wild, but it's estimated to be somewhere between around 2,000 to a maximum of about 10,000.
And in terms of their diet, what do these guys eat? Are these guys herbivores? Are they omnivores? Or are these guys straight up carnivores?
So they're technically actually classed as carnivores. They belong to the carnivora order of species, but they are actually show mainly a herbivorous diet. So 95% of their diet would be bamboo, which is what Aaron has here. But they will sometimes eat small prey. They will sometimes catch in the wild like small rodents or small birds, eggs, occasionally insects if they get the opportunity to. But they are omnivores basically, but they're classed as carnivores.
We'll just see if they come down for us or if not. And,
it's a bit warm now, so they get even lazier when the sun's shining. They just want to sleep.
Here we go.
So bamboo contains very, very little energy and very little nutrition, so they have to eat a huge amount of it to actually gain what they need. So red pandas in the wild would actually need to eat around 200,000 leaves every single day to be able to get enough to survive. And because they are classed as carnivores, they have a carnivore digestive system, which actually means they don't digest it very well, so it means they need to eat even more. So that's why they are quite lazy, but really it's just being energy efficient, and they will actually sleep up to around 18 hours a day.
Now, the red pandas are actually one of the only species of animal, probably the only species of animal that we have here at Paradise, that can actually naturally catch its main food source, which would be meat in this case, as you were saying, from a carnivore perspective, because these guys every now and then do tend to catch birds in this habitat. It is fairly commonly seen that you can come into the habitat and there'll be feathers all over the place. So even though these guys are fairly lazy animals and do spend a lot of time sleeping and consuming, food that doesn't give them a lot of energy like bamboo, they are still able to predate on their prey pretty well from that standpoint. Now, obviously, these guys, they do share the same name as giant pandas, but they are in no relation whatsoever. So, Amy, can you just explain to the viewers why these guys are called pandas if they're not related to giant pandas?
So they're distantly related to giant pandas, and they belong to the same order of mammals, the carnivores, but it is very, very distant. The word panda is thought to actually have derived from a mispronunciation of a Nepalese word, which is ponya, which means eater of bamboo. So red pandas were actually discovered first. They were discovered 48 years before giant pandas were, and when they were actually first discovered, they were just named panda, which makes sense as well, because red pandas, one of the 5 countries that they're native to is Nepal. So they were first named the panda, and then 48 years later someone discovered the giant pandas living in China, and because they eat bamboo too, they decided to call them the giant panda. That's when they thought to try and avoid a bit of confusion, they will add the red part onto this panda's name. But we do hear people looking at these all the time and saying things like, well, it's not a real panda, well, it isn't a proper panda. So we do very much enjoy telling people that technically they are the true panda, as they were named first.
The original OG panda in terms of if you're down with the kids.
Exactly.
Now, obviously, as you can see, Nampang's munching away on food at the moment. He's only 2 years old, so when would you guys be hoping that he's going to be producing any young?
So he is old enough now. So red pandas reach sexual maturity and their first breeding season when they're around 18 months old, and he will be 3 in a few months' time. Red pandas have a very short breeding season. They can breed from any time between sort of early December to about late March, and it's believed that the female will only come into season for a few weeks between that sort of window of time. So his first breeding season sort of last year, they were unsuccessful, which we weren't surprised. He was very young, so he didn't think, he basically just didn't really know what to do. And this year it's still a waiting game. So we saw some positive breeding behaviours between the two of them. They were a lot more active, they were very vocal. Generally red pandas don't make any noise whatsoever, but during this time they were quite vocal towards one another. But we didn't actually observe any mating. So time will tell. Hopefully by around late May, if Tilly was pregnant, we'd start being able to feel the difference in her abdomen. When we do the training, we'd start feeling her getting a little bit rounder, and we'd start feeling her teats develop. They have 6 teats, and we'd be able to feel them getting bigger, and that's when we would know that she is definitely pregnant.
And even though they're called pandas, do they have any other names that people might know them by?
Yeah, people do call them a few different things. They're also known as the firefox. They're also known as, I've seen different things. I've seen red cat bear and all sorts of things, but panda is definitely what we call them.
Awesome, you're enjoying that, aren't you? And obviously we've seen that they mainly arboreal. They spend most of their time up in trees. You can see Tilly sat up in the tree above Nampang at the moment. What makes red pandas such good climbers? Have they got any unique features to their body?
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much every part of their body has been adapted to be able to help them to climb. They have the long, thick, bushy tail, which Tilly doesn't have, but they're amazingly adaptable. So that long tail gives them balance. They can't use their tail to grip like some animals can, but they use it just for balance. Their ankles can rotate, so that means that they can climb head first vertically down a tree, which is really, really useful. They have those long claws, which you might be able to see from Nampang sitting there. They can't retract them claws like cats can, so those claws are out all the time. They would help to give them really good grip also. They also have an adaptation in their paw known as a false thumb. They have their 5 little toes, but then they basically have an adapted wrist bone, and it's a bit extended, and it enables them to make a fist. So I think we might have seen Nampang sort of using it actually to hold onto the bamboo. They kind of fold their paw in half. We might see it maybe again. So even though you see them using it all the time when they're eating bamboo, they actually believe it evolved to help them with climbing, so they can hold on to really thin, small branches. And even their body shape, they're quite long bodies, and they have big feet as well, and both of those things give them really good weight distribution on thin branches as well.
Now, obviously, red pandas are incredibly cute, which may give the false impression that these guys might make really good pets. But can you just give any viewers that are watching an idea as to just how difficult red pandas are to manage?
Yeah, red pandas are quite difficult to look after, and they have a very specialist diet as well. They need very healthy, fresh bamboo. They eat a huge amount of it, obviously, as we already spoke about too. Keeping a red panda as a pet is illegal. They are CITES Appendix 1, which basically means it's completely illegal to sort of sell them or trade in them globally across the whole world. Unfortunately, they do believe, the Red Panda Network believe, that the pet trade in red pandas is increasing, which is quite worrying. We do think that's partly fueled by videos and photos that you see online of them looking obviously amazingly cute, obviously like they are, and that does boost a little bit of a pet trade with them. It was actually a couple of years back, 6 wild red pandas were confiscated and being smuggled into Laos, which they actually believe were destined for Thailand to actually be sold on the black market. But 3 of them actually now live in a rescue centre. But it's just an example of how unfortunately it does happen, and it is affecting their wild populations.
Now, if people wanted to support red pandas from a conservation perspective, what organisations, aside from Paradise Wildlife Park and the Zoological Society of Hertfordshire, of course, would you recommend people help?
So 100% the Red Panda Network. The Red Panda Network is a charity that we've supported here financially for several years now. They're an absolutely amazing organisation. I could talk about them for the rest of the day. Red Panda Network do great work out mainly in Nepal, out of the 5 countries that they're found in. Basically doing everything they can to help communities living in red panda habitat. Forests in these areas are destroyed not for sort of logging to be exported across the world, but actually just local people having to live in this incredibly remote rural area. They have to cut firewood for their homes to keep their stoves burning and to keep their houses, and they will often have cattle that will go out in the forest grazing for food, which tramples everything, and they eat the sort of forest as well. So the Red Panda Network work with local communities. Everyone wants to help them, but they just don't physically have the means or the money to do so. So the Red Panda Network, one of their main initiatives is actually installing more efficient stoves in people's houses. By doing that, it literally halves the amount of firewood that a house might have to chop, and that saves a huge amount of forest. So they're amazing.
Now, obviously, one thing that anyone who's watching can do in order to help red panda conservation is just simply share this video, because one of the key things about conservation is awareness. And the only way that we can raise awareness is by more and more people viewing videos like we're producing here, which gives lots of information about red pandas and also about conservation as well. So please share this video if you are having a watch. As you can see, Nampang's just absolutely loving life right now, munching on the bamboo. Now, even though obviously this coronavirus pandemic is taking place across the world and obviously is affecting a lot of people in a very bad way, we do hope that everyone who's watching this is staying home and staying safe. Obviously, working with animals, we are still seen as essential workers. We are here caring for the animals day in, day out here at Paradise Wildlife Park, along with all the other zookeepers, vets, you know, people that work in aquariums, conservation rangers all around the world as well. But obviously one thing that is incredibly difficult is obviously maintaining the funds in order to help look after these animals. At the moment it's costing us around £3,000 a day just to take care of the animals whilst there's no visitors here at the park. So if you are interested in helping us and you would like to donate towards Paradise Wildlife Park, please visit our Just Giving page, which just simply go to Just Giving and then type in Animal Support Fund and you can donate that way, or please visit our website, which is pwpark.com. And of course, when this coronavirus pandemic is over, we do look forward to welcoming you back here to Paradise so that you can come and see our red pandas up close once again. But we hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. We hope you've learned some really awesome things about red pandas and fallen in love with Tilly and Nampang just as much as we love them as well. And in the meantime, stay home, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you when all of this is over.
Thank you.